Everybody, what up, what up, what up? And here we are, almost a week removed. I'm your host, H, and with us is.
Big Mike from Big Mike's Real Reviews.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about Captain America: A Brave New World. And before we get in it, before we get in, we want to let you know we will be doing some mild spoilers for this movie. So if you've not already gone to go see it, cut this off right now.
Yeah,
We
and then
might,
come back and watch it after you see the movie.
yeah, we might say some
It
things.
is worth the watch. I will say that
Yeah,
it's worth the watch.
yeah. So actually, Mike, I'm gonna start with you because you had some energy. You was about to ball up on, so I'm gonna let you have
I was.
floor so that way you can let that energy out. What did you think of the movie, and what's the one main thing that's kind of grinding your gears right now?
Okay, so I really enjoyed the movie. I personally gave it an 8 out of 10. But you know what really grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears, Peter?
So I feel like there's three categories of people, like right now, when it comes to MCU. You have
Yeah,
trolls, you have the people who just want to genuinely hate on Marvel just because it's like, I guess, a cool thing to do now is anything
yeah,
Marvel does is just like, oh, well, it's terrible now. And then you have that subset category that if it's not as good as Endgame or like Infinity War, it
hmm
just sucks. So that's the thing that like I can't stand. I mean, if you genuinely just didn't like the movie, that's fine. Everybody has their own opinion.
right.
But to go into this movie, which is actually a good movie, it is one of the, I mean, a lot better movies that we've gotten from Marvel in a
In recent
while.
years, yeah,
So, like, you got, I know it's been hit and miss, right? This is a
mhm.
definite hit, in my opinion. The movie was solid. It's not like Endgame, of course, or Deadpool and Wolverine. Like,
Nothing,
it's
right?
not that
Nothing goes
level, it's
with
not
that
that
height,
caliber.
and
But
it wasn't supposed to be because the whole
right,
idea is Endgame was built up over time.
thank you. But this
This
is
is like
still a
ground level.
solid movie, and you have people online comparing it to like Madam Web. Come on now.
Oh my God,
Now,
no.
again, when I mention trolls, I'm also throwing in like people who are actually racist. I feel like there are a lot of people who just are hating on this because we have a black Captain America, which this
Right,
happened in the comics.
right.
You
See,
knew it was building up to this. Even in Endgame, Steve gives
gives them the shield.
Sam the shield,
There,
but
there was
now all
no
of a
mystery.
sudden you're hating on the fact that Sam is Captain America. And after we got the whole Falcon and Winter Soldier show showing Sam turning it down and then saying, hey, you know what? I have to take up this mantle because it means more than just how I feel at this point.
Right.
You go through all that, then you're just like, oh, well, this is terrible. It was not a terrible movie. It was actually a good, solid movie.
Let me take you on a quick sidebar on that because I just had this discussion with another friend of mine today. The one thing I really started noticing once I kind of gotten back in the comic books, going all the way back to 2010, getting to the trolls, there is a definite subset of people out there that if it wasn't white and it wasn't male,
Yep.
there was so much hate
Yep.
because you had the hate when Miles Morales became Spider-Man and his own
Yep.
version of Spider-Man. Why couldn't they change the name? Why couldn't they do this? Why can't he be Spider-Man? Why can't he be Spider-Man?
Right.
Yeah, people that hated on Jane Foster once she became Thor. And again, long before these movies came out,
Yes.
you had people hating on this. You had people that of course, they got mad with Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, and we saw how short that run was in the comics.
And
But
there,
we
but
got it.
there's a panel in the comics where Sam and Steve both are Cap. They're floating in like in front of the Statue of Liberty, right?
Right,
And Steve says to Sam, hey, we can both be Captain America, and they fist bump. Like we
right.
don't have to have
But
another
but
name. And Steve
but
says that to Sam, and that's in the comics.
but racists don't want to see that.
That's what I'm saying though. You
They,
can't
they,
like
they
I
want they
hate that
want
where it's like,
everything right. They want everything as a status quo from back in the 40s and 50s when your main superheroes were white and male, where
right,
the women, even if they were a superhero like Wonder Woman, they was always submissive and in some kind of sexual pose. A lot of people still want to go back to that, not realizing this ain't it anymore. You
Yeah,
know, comics and superhero movies are a global phenomenon. The money is green. And the
yeah,
people that are paying money are every last walk of life, but you still cannot, and I'm about to hit something too. You still cannot go out here and have your movies looking one way when everybody that's paying to go see it looks like something else. Not to
right,
mention, when you saw what the box office records for this movie was for this weekend, how it shattered records, it's still shattering the myth that people of color can't carry a movie.
right. Yeah.
You
Again,
know,
like I said, I don't understand the hate. I actually thought it was a very solid movie. I enjoyed
right
it
now, let's
very
let's let's
much.
let's get to the movie itself.
Okay. All right.
So,
I'm not now. I'm
for
not saying
me,
again. It's not a perfect movie, of
yeah,
course. It's
no,
and again, and I'm admitting it's not a great movie, but it's a good
right.
movie.
It was see the perspective I approached to that, and I even said it on my Facebook post. This was what about I expected.
Yeah.
Marvel wasn't trying to go in too deep, but they wasn't trying to skim the surface.
Yeah.
This was this reminded me in many ways of Winter Soldier. That's
Yes.
the first thing that kind of popped in my head. Like, this reminds me so much of Winter Soldier because you had a whole lot of the espionage, the intrigue, what's
Yeah.
going on with the president, um, what's going on with him trying to get me to reform the Avengers, but like, who do we answer to? Well,
Right.
you're going to answer to me. I don't know. So you had a whole lot of that going on, and like I said, I was good for it. But the bigger thing for me, it didn't overstay its welcome because you know I've had
Yeah.
this complaint before about certain movies coming along, and while the movies were good, it's like, why are we dragging this out?
Right. Because
You
this
know,
movie was just under 2 hours,
right, right,
and again, it was reminiscent of Winter Soldier, but I
uh-huh.
will not put it on Winter Soldier level.
It's not on that
Again,
level.
I'm being real. I am a
It's
realist.
a
I'm
step
being
below.
realistic. This was
Right,
still a solid movie. Just that's what kills me. It's like because it's not a certain level or caliber or whatever. You're like, well, it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's still a good
that,
movie. It's just not as good as another good movie
right. It's about par. It's not quite there,
because
but
it
it's on
definitely
par.
has like his issues. Like I had issues with. Let's start. Um, I had issues with the leader, not more so as he was portrayed.
Hmm.
The design, man, it just kind of took me out of it. There was an
Yeah,
original design that they did where he had the goatee and he still had hair, but
right.
it looked better than what we got. It
Yeah,
kind of took me out of it. Like he still, I thought, was a decent enough villain. I mean, he was kind of throwaway, but kind of not. He was an okay villain, but I still think like the way he looked kind of took me out of
yeah.
it a little bit. Um, and I'm gonna let you get to the other gripe
Because
because that's it was
right,
my
like
gripe too.
this was my biggest gripe. But the one thing I tried to reconcile, like, was this an indirect sequel to the Hulk movie that we got years
That's
ago?
another thing. That's another thing.
Or was this, because I mean, it definitely was a sequel to the show. It definitely was a
Yes,
sequel to the
but
show
it also
because we
was
had
like,
things like
hey, here's some unresolved plot
stuff from the
points.
Hulk. You still
Let's
had
let's make this movie about these unresolved plot points from the Incredible Hulk.
right, and you right, because I was about to say you still had to have watched the Hulk to really get a
Yeah,
little bit more of an understanding. Which again, that's Marvel for you. If you're going to go into something, you need, if you really want to understand it, you have to go back and do like a quick quiz with some crib notes and a little
right.
bit of research.
Because even the
Because
song, remember the song that triggered people's mind control? Do you remember what the song said? Right, Mister
yeah,
Blue. Now remember in Incredible Hulk, Sam Stearns was Mr. Blue,
Mr. Blue.
and you know Bruce Banner was Mr. Green when they were communicating online.
Right, 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 right. Because
Aha!
even when they said something about the Hulk and Abomination, I was like, oh, y'all went
Yeah,
back.
it's like yeah.
Y'all went way back.
Oh, when they destroyed Harlem, they always got to say when they destroyed
Like,
Harlem.
oh yeah. I'm like, ooh. And see, mind you, I saw it about 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, okay, yeah, I got to do a whole lot of mental just gymnastics to keep up. But
Because not everybody is like me. I've probably watched every MCU movie 5 to 10 times, like every single one. Everything is fresh, but I'm like the minority, and I know that. Because like when I'm in the movies, I'm like looking over to so for example, my son, he tried to watch The Incredible Hulk. He said he never really caught on, and he kind of like stopped watching and never went back to it. So I'm like, and I haven't watched The Incredible Hulk in like probably about 5 years, but I still knew everything that was going on. So I'm sitting here explaining everything to him, and I'm like, so this is what's going on, blah 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 blah. You know, so he's kind of catching up, but I know I'm the minority here.
Right, but to just jump all the way to my pet peeve, and this is a definite spoiler. So again, if you stuck around this long and you still haven't seen it yet, you really need to
don't get mad.
You've been warned. My biggest pet peeve was how they did Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Because Red Hulk, as portrayed in this movie, is just a red version of Green Hulk. Just a red rage machine.
Yeah.
And the thing that really pissed me off about that, now I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, it had to be exact to the comic book. This is one of the times, though, it would have benefited for it being like the comic, because the main thing that separated Red Hulk from Green Hulk, from the leader, I'm going all the way around.
Yeah.
Now remember, the leader, he was also infected with gamma radiation, but he got smart. He didn't get the strength. He got smart.
Yeah.
Bruce
smarter.
Banner,
he was already smart, but he got smarter.
He was smarter, got smarter. Bruce Banner got inflicted with gamma radiation. He just became a strong rage machine.
Yeah.
Red Hulk. Now, they didn't have to necessarily do this like the comics, but remember in the comics, Ross intentionally got gamma radiation. He did. However, for the movie, he was secretly poisoned by the leader.
Right.
Well, however, the thing is, it's when Ross transforms in the comics, he retains his sense of self.
Yeah, he's just himself as a big red Hulk.
Right. And the other
like Amadeus Cho, when Amadeus Cho turned himself into the Hulk, he's just Amadeus Cho as the Hulk.
Right. He's a smart Asian guy that just happens to transform to the Hulk. Yeah. Who also happens to be very, very intelligent.
Yeah, because he said, I'm going to make myself a Hulk, and he did.
Yeah. And the other big thing is this, to understand Red Hulk's power set is with Bruce's version of the Hulk. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. Red Hulk doesn't do that.
The angrier he gets, the hotter he gets.
That's about it. He can get hotter, but he can't maintain that strength for long.
No.
All you got to do is tire him out really good, and he's good. But like I said, that was the
he always had like guns and stuff too.
Right, because that was the thing for anybody that read the comic, how it starts out even in that first issue where he's introduced. Well, he's not even necessarily introduced. Abomination gets killed.
Oh yeah.
And the literal smoking gun is a gun that's so big that only a Hulk-sized person could
even lift it, let alone shoot it.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, there's so much that got missed. Now I had a couple of my other comic book friends, just as geeky. Now we debated a little bit, but I politely told them, I said, well, I agree there that this is a movie. This was one key part I think Marvel dropped the ball on. Maybe who knows? Maybe we'll get another Red Hulk, and we kind of got to move quick because Harrison Ford ain't lost the world.
Right, but I mean, he could always evolve. Like, what if when he turns again? Because I mean, remember, this drug built up in his system over time. So maybe if he hulks out again, like he's gonna
he'll get it or something like that.
Maintain his his own personality or whatever.
Because I think what would have to happen if Marvel goes this path, Red Hulk has to become part of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Pretty much.
He becomes part of the Thunderbolts in the comics. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And also I look at it as you can't do this as a one-time thing. You cannot introduce a Red Hulk the last 10 minutes of the movie and that's it.
I think they're kind of building to like World War Hulk for like I think they introduced Red Hulk just to be like he's already here now in World War Hulk. Now he's we have a Red Hulk. That's my opinion. I think that's why they did it.
I hope not because remember Red Hulk was long after World War Hulk.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I believe that's why they did it for the MCU.
And then, mind you, they already kind of did the World War. Well, they didn't even really do the World War Hulk, but they gave us glimpses.
They did Planet Hulk kind of in Thor Ragnarok. That was more so Planet Hulk.
Yeah, but yeah, who knows what they're building? This is one of those times I can't even theorize where this is going. But I just hope that this isn't the last time that we get to see a Red Hulk.
Right. And
now,
I have one more gripe.
Go ahead.
Post-credit scene.
I was just coming to that. Go ahead.
I felt like it was weak.
Because
unless you really knew what Stearns was talking about,
and I didn't.
I thought he was to me it was kind of obvious. I thought he was talking about Battle World, but I'm like, who the normal fans is going to know what he's talking about? I'm like, because he's like, we're not the only world. What happens when you have to fight the others? And my brain just went off and was like, okay, he's talking about the multiverse. He's talking about Battle World when you have to fight other selves of you, right?
Yeah.
In Battle World because there's incursions.
Yeah.
And the strongest universe wins and prevails.
He might be going that route because
that's what I thought.
Because we got to remember we already had we just had Deadpool and Wolverine, so we know the mutants are coming.
Yep.
Because they also introduced adamantium finally.
Yep.
So we know the mutants and the X-Men are coming. And then
Secret Wars, the rumors are it's going to serve as a soft reboot.
For Secret Wars.
Yeah. Maybe. So after Secret Wars, it's going to be like they're going to bring back, I guess, or recast the main, characters.
Yeah.
Some characters are going to stick around. Some are I'm talking about actors, right? Some are not. Right. But now you're going to finally have all of the Marvel heroes, right, on one world.
In MCU.
Right. So it's going to be, I think that's the soft reboot I'm talking about. It's going to be, you're going to have Avengers, you're going to have Fantastic Four, you're going to have mutants, X-Men. You're going to have all of that like it should be. Spider-Man, right? All of those elements right there now. And I even think there's going to be an Oscorp because remember, there hasn't been an Oscorp in the MCU yet. I think once after Secret Wars, there's even going to be an Oscorp and Osborn and all that kind of stuff. I think they're going to throw all of it in.
Yeah, it's about time too because, like we've discussed before, you got nearly 20 years of Marvel movies, and there's still a lot of stuff that hasn't been introduced because what I was about to allude to is the fact that we've already had Deadpool and Wolverine, which now they're slowly but surely coming into the MCU universe, to the MCU. Then you have Captain America, which just came out. You got Fantastic Four coming later this year, and you got Thunderbolts.
Yep.
So the thing of it is, I'm looking at it and I'm trying to figure out how are you going to get all these puzzle pieces to mesh?
Yeah.
Because none of it's exactly making sense. So it's like once you get all those elements into play, how are we going to start sliding those pieces together? Because again, you got Fantastic Four, but still the biggest piece out there that we still have been waiting on are the X-Men. So I think this is the problem.
Remember, after every phase, normally we would have an Avengers movie.
Right.
We haven't had that.
No.
We've had 2 more phases and no Avengers movies. I think that's also where the MCU is suffering. It's not building to anything. They used to build to, this phase builds to this Avengers movie. Now this phase builds to this Avengers movie. We've had 2 phases that didn't have an Avengers movie. You didn't build to anything.
We had 2 phases that didn't go anywhere, period.
That's my point. Usually they're supposed to build up to an Avengers movie. These did nothing.
They're introducing characters but not giving us a direction.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You got all these movies in play now. But what direction are we building up to? Because you're not going the direction for Kang. At least you don't seem like you're going back in the direction.
No, they're doing the whole Doom thing, which is fine because they just need to go ahead. Like I said, after Secret Wars, they're going to do their soft reboot, and I feel like a lot of things are going to be better too because now you can tell whatever story you want to tell. Use every character you want to use, and I feel like things will be better.
Right. Just got to figure out how to get them in.
We just got to get there.
Yep. So at this point, we're going to slide out of here. You know, we've been on here a little bit longer, but this was definitely worth the wait. A couple of things I'm going to throw out there. Nosferatu is about to show up on Peacock. I believe, I want to say this Friday. Yeah, if it's not already, it's this Friday. Nosferatu will be on there. Wicked should be also at the end of this month, also on Peacock.
Okay.
And Gladiator's already on Prime, which
I watched that.
On Prime. I watched that on my way to Vegas a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I still want the DVD. I still want that Blu-ray.
Good.
I want the Blu-ray of that. And everything I just mentioned, I plan on getting the hard disc up. So yeah. I'm trying to think. We got a couple other things that's going to be dropping soon, but still, you know, nothing movie-wise that's like really hot right now. But
July is going to be a big month.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Superman, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four.
Yeah. We're gonna be spoiled for superhero flicks.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna move on out, y'all, and we'll see you in a couple.